Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the cryptocurrency market this Monday as traditional markets have opened. So we've seen institutions place their bets, and Bitcoin has a candle low of 30,407 today, but we've yet to come test 30,000 US dollars. So we haven't seen volume come in, and Bitcoin hasn't yet taken the elevator. But I do want to talk about what's happening to traditional markets, because remember we talked about the DXY yesterday. If we see this candle high from last week break, that means the DXY is taking an aggressive route towards the 93.82 area. And this is going to cause markets like the traditional markets to take the elevator. And that's why today the S&P 500 saw a massive bearish top type of candle. If you see here on the daily chart, we have seen a reversal in trend. I mean, that's the only way to put this, with the S&P 500 coming back down to test the 50-day moving average, taking the elevator down today. The headline saying the Dow seeing over 700-point drop, the worst drop since October of last year. This is all because of what's happening to the DXY. No surprise for those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel, because I talked about the scenario happening yesterday, and the DXY is taking this route. So now when we look at the cryptocurrency market, and we'll also address the revolving parts like Bitcoin dominance, others dominance, and the total cryptocurrency market cap chart, but Bitcoin is heading towards 30,000 right now. And the question is, are we going to see Bitcoin take the elevator at 30,000, where we know if we get to this level, there's going to be a lot of bullish and bearish price action from both ends? Are the bulls or bears going to win? I want to talk about that today because we have some new puzzle pieces on the weekly chart. When we look at Bitcoin, notice how we had this new weekly candle yesterday, fully below the 50-week moving average. And guess what? The bears have decided to defend the 50-week moving average, and that has caused Bitcoin's weekly candle to stay below the 50-week moving average. So this is the first weekly candle fully below the 50-week moving average, doesn't have any price action at the 50-week moving average. This is a major puzzle piece, because the fact of the matter is the bears decided to open the candle below, and the bulls have yet to show any signs of strength to recover this 50-week moving average. And then we know everything morphs from the smaller time frames into the larger time frames. Well, why is this happening now to the 50-week moving average? Because it's been happening to the 50-day moving average for the last 2 months. We have never been able to come and test this 50-day moving average. That's why that rule that I talk about, where everything morphs from the smaller time frames into the larger time frames, it works from a 1-minute chart to a 5-minute chart to a 15-minute chart, but it also works from a daily chart to a weekly chart to a monthly chart. And so we weren't able to test the 50-day moving average for this whole month, and now guess what? We get below the 50-week moving average now, and it has officially translated onto this time frame. So this is certainly a momentous time in the market. It's not just another day of consolidation. We're coming down inside of this extremely dangerous range of 35,000 and 26,000, and we're at the point in which we know there's going to be a decision made very soon at 30,000 US dollars. Are the bulls or bears going to win this fight? We're going to talk about that today. For those tuned into the Snipers channel, you know this has been something we've been monitoring at this $30,000 to $35,000 range, and we know there's also been a lot of altcoin opportunities, like on the 26th of June, where Ethereum came below 1760. Throughout this consolidation, as what always happens in the cryptocurrency market, when Bitcoin slows down, some altcoins tend to outperform. We're also going to look at Link today. Notice how we're seeing the lowest US dollar price for Link since this whole bear market, with Link testing 14.459, the level that I talked about 2 days ago. Are we going to be seeing more altcoin opportunities like that? We're going to talk about that today. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Abeidi. Remember to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. We want to hit 100,000 snipers on this channel. We're at 45,000. So let's first talk about what's happening to Bitcoin. We already addressed the weekly chart. Unfortunately, we're fully below the 50-week moving average. And if and until we can get above this weekly open, sitting right at that $32,000 level, where we have the 50-week moving average sitting just above that, then Bitcoin at this point is telling me as an umpire that it's ready to step into the elevator and discover lower prices. That's not a bad thing. That just means that we're going to have to observe the market and its reaction to any lower prices. So remember, 28,000 is going to be the first level of support that we could potentially look at when we see this market structural lower low. We always want to start with the market structure, but then we want to address where there's volume and accumulation, and we know that comes at 26,000 to 20,000. So what I'm watching is at 30,000. Until we get to 30,000, we're most likely going to stay in this floating zone between 35 and 30, and the Bitcoin price could take the elevator at any point in time. But if it stays above 30,000, it's most likely not going to see the volume we need to really see some price action. So we need to monitor 30,000. We get to 30,000 at some point or another, it's going to have to take the elevator. And I think that 28,000 to 20,000 is where we need to monitor, as you guys know. From there, over the more medium and macro term, I certainly expect there to be some further upside into the end of this year when it comes to Bitcoin's price action. This could certainly be one of the fastest bear markets and cycles that we've seen in the history of Bitcoin, right? So it wouldn't be a surprise to come test this multi-year support at this point, especially with what's happening to traditional markets and the revolving parts outside of Bitcoin. And as I talked about earlier, we get to this $32,000 level where the weekly opens at. That's sort of close to the 50-week moving average. Then we can talk about a potential rescue operation to take us back towards 34,788, which is where we need to be if we want to assume any more further upside above 35,000 for Bitcoin. So let's look at Ethereum. It's one of the leading altcoins. It's the largest altcoin, and it gives you a good idea of how other altcoins are going to be in this market. We have the London hard fork here, August 4th. We've been talking about great opportunities throughout this whole consolidation to get into altcoins. Link is showing some insane price levels right now, but Ethereum is yet to come below 1760. So I'm still monitoring 1760. It's going to be the fourth time that we're testing this level. That means that the door will most likely open into this range. The range takes us down to the previous all-time high at 1440. This is a large range. I only believe 1760 is going to be breached if Bitcoin gets below 30,000. That's a 20% range for Ethereum. Having those buy limits below 1,600 up to that $1,200 level might be a good idea just in case, because if we see the elevator get taken, it's typically fast, and price will come right back towards these higher levels like 1,700. If we do get down below 1,600, it's going to just move its way back up, right? Previous support is going to turn into resistance, so we can expect 1760 to get tested even if we get down to 1440, right? So that's what I'm monitoring here for the Ethereum to US dollar price. I think that we'll see some altcoins perform well once we get Bitcoin's true move. It needs to move out of that consolidation from 30 to 35,000 for us to really see the moves with altcoins. Ethereum to Bitcoin chart also showing a little bit of weakness right now, but in the macro, it's still very bullish. And we look at the revolving parts like the total cryptocurrency market cap chart. We're seeing some altcoins lose capital and lose valuation, right? Like Link today, $14.62. That's the lowest it's been throughout this whole consolidation. That's affecting the total cryptocurrency market cap chart, but we do have some room to go down without us getting too bearish yet. So if we see the downside scenario play out, there's a potential we get below 1 trillion for a short amount of time. I think that's on the table, but I don't know if it stay at that level. I think we'll slowly creep ourselves right back above 1 trillion if we get that test below it. Others dominance, we've been monitoring this. We're testing this 200-day moving average. We're at 11.75% dominance. Now as an umpire, we could start saying that we could potentially have a reversal in trend here because we're staying below the 20-week moving average now for quite some time. That could be a big puzzle piece heading into this next phase of the market. So we really want to monitor this chart. I think this is one of the most important charts to monitor here. Are we going to see the others dominance chart hold this 200-day moving average no matter what happens to Bitcoin? Because it can go either way. They're never, exact correlations here. So if Bitcoin goes up, this could still go up. If Bitcoin goes down, this could still go up. So we want to monitor this. If we break below this, then we could start changing the storyline. But until that happens, it's still the most bullish revolving part because Bitcoin dominance, obviously, you can see here, way in below the 20-week moving average and way in below the 200-day moving average. So not as bullish whatsoever as others dominance. And that's causing coins like Link to see these great price levels Haven't yet taken a long position because I'm waiting for Bitcoin to make a decision, but you can see Link testing 14.45, and I might even get the chance to test 12. And if we come down to 12, that looks like a small range, but just from 14 to 12 right there, that's over a 20% range right there for Link. I'm going to be watching these altcoins as we see what Bitcoin decides to do, because we can really be garnering ourselves some great opportunities. And we look at traditional markets, the DXY taking the route of aggression that we talked about yesterday, breaking above all of last week's candle highs. And that, as I talked about yesterday, is going to cause traditional markets to take the elevator. And that's exactly what happened today. Headline saying the Dow seeing the worst drop since October. You can see the S&P 500 saw a massive bearish, topish type of scenario here today with this retest of the 50-day moving average. That certainly is a puzzle piece. Has Bitcoin reacted to this yet? Or is Bitcoin in the process of reacting to this? That's a huge question on the table. Commodities are quite flat with this reaction. So we'll also monitor gold and US oil as we start to see what this DXY really wants to do. But I think that it's going to be an interesting week ahead of us. You can see US oil, as we talked about, seeing the downside. We were expecting that, testing the 100-day moving average. I guess you can say already the US oil has reacted to this. Gold really hasn't reacted to it yet. But gold staying strong actually isn't a good sign for traditional markets, because that says that institutions are hedging into gold and they're finding more safety in gold. So that is another puzzle piece, right? So very interesting day today. A lot of developments on the charts, if I do say so myself. And what I will say is tomorrow is turnaround Tuesday. So who knows what could happen? Is Bitcoin just going to float its way back towards 35,000 and continue to consolidate sideways here? And that's going to garner these opportunities like Link that may have been a great opportunity to get into today. That's on the table, but I think it's still high risk with Bitcoin in this floating zone. So we want to monitor how Bitcoin's going to react. It's still taking the ladder. And until and if it tests 30,000 or 35,000, it could float. And with that, I appreciate each and every one of you snipers tuned into our channel. If you want to win Principles by Ray Dalio, comment below your favorite altcoin. We'll start including those in the videos with some technical analysis and some entries and targets. And remember to hit the like button so we can hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. It helps the YouTube channel with the algorithm. Summer says, thanks, Nine. Patience is indeed the name of the game here. Send me a message on Instagram. You want a book. And with that, I appreciate each and every one of you guys once again. And I cannot wait to see how Turnaround Tuesday unfolds tomorrow. And we'll cover as always. Until next time, snipers